Hello, good morning and good afternoon, good evening, all the Dhamma friends from throughout the world. So, all of you, I'm warmly welcoming to the Every Cloud Monastery Dhamma platform, YouTube channel, Facebook channel, and other all the platforms. I warmly welcome again all of you. And I'm Bhante Pesala from Sri Lanka. Uh, right now, here in Sri Lanka, it is early in the morning, but I know in the USA it is in the evening. So, today, as usually, we used to talk about a sutta and we try to understand the meaning of the sutta and try to learn the lessons from the sutta, but not as usual. Today, I am going to explain you about one of the Jataka story. Actually, Jataka stories are a variety of commentaries. Commentaries means those are supportive descriptions in order to understand the teachings of the Tripitaka. Actually, these stories are not mentioned in the Tripitaka, but in a way, they are very helpful for disciples to understand the essence of the Dhamma. For an example, you know, as scientific oriented people, we are a bit of hassle to understand about the karma concept of the karma. We don't believe about the past lives, present lives, as well as the future lives. But when you go through the Jataka stories, actually, we can understand that the influence of the karma easily, because during the previous births, our great teacher Samma Sambuddha has has fulfilled the paramitas, 10 paramitas, and not within one or two lives, but the number of lives he has spent by fulfilling the paramita is immense. Actually, from count. Uh, from the number of lives we cannot say exactly. So he has fulfilled the lives, even the kappas, I mean eons. Uh, so much of infinite number of lives he has spent during the past. But as scientific oriented people, sometime when we talk about these type of stories, Jataka stories, people seems to reluctant to sometime to believe the things which is in the Jataka stories. In some time it says in some stories, there were some animals during the distant past, they were talking each other, communicating each other. So in modern context, when we hear this kind of thing, it seems reluctant to believe that, because animal, how could animal speak, how could animal can speak? It's a uh, I mean, we cannot believe that, because in present days it's not happening. But the in Buddhism, the past that we talk about is not just a number of years back. It is immense years of in so many years of back. So the to measure the time in Buddhism, we use the term called kappa. So there are millions of kappas before that things happened, and if you understand the length of the time, length of the one kappa is so immense. So at one time, some disciples went to the Buddha and asked, "Venerable sir, please teach me the length of one kappa." At that time, Buddha said, uh, "Dear Bhikkhu, I cannot explain it in numbers. I cannot say the length of the kappa, length of the eon in numbers. It is more than, it is so much of length, and we cannot even measure." So Buddha has given a illustration to understand the length of the kappa. It is said, just think an incident. There is a rock, 16 league rock. That means one league is equal to actually, I think, 1.2 kilometers or something like that. Then just multiply it in 16, then you will get like 24 kilometers, something like that. So just imagine the the immensity of the rock. So every after 100 years, a man came before this rock, and by using a silk piece of cloth, he rubbed the this rock. Somehow by rubbing only, this rock will burn out one day, but still the length of the eon is not finished. One eon, the length of the one cup, one eon is not still has not finished. Just imagine the length of one cup. Even the scientists also talking about the beginning of the universe, and they say by putting Big Bang theory, they say that the creation of the Big Bang theory happened before 14 billion years back. They give the calculations, but in Buddhism, the past that we talk about in Jataka story is not just it cannot measure through by numbers. It is so much of distance. So we don't know exactly what they happen. The speaking of the animal, we don't know actually whether it has happened or not. So uh, it doesn't matter that you may not believe those stories, but the most important is to the essence of the story. So likewise, uh, we have to mostly focus on not to the things which is in the Jatak story, but to the essence of the story. So today, the story we are going to talk is known as Mahiļāmukha Jātaka. Mahiļāmukha mean it talk about an elephant. That elephant face from the front side is like a young woman. So that's why the elephant was named as Mahiļāmukha. So Jataka mean, as I said, it's talk about the existence of the past, and during the past existence, how our Buddha, performed his activity, how he has done things, as well as the disciples, how they have do the things. So we have talked a little bit of introduction on that. So this story Buddha uttered on behalf of two bhikkhus. They got the ordination uh, from the Buddha's time, and before becoming monks, they were really friends. They are true friends, so much of familiar. And after becoming monk, also they have maintained their friendship. And even after becoming monks, they used to get together always and discuss their personal matters, everything in the world they used to discuss. And fortunately, out of these two monks, one monk got the ordination from the Buddha's side. Unfortunately, the other one, he got the ordination not from the Buddha's side, but from the Bhikkhu Devadatta. Actually, Devadatta is, uh, you know, Devadatta is the most prominent enemy of the Buddha. He initially, before becoming a monk, Devadatta is a relative of the Prince Siddhartha or the Buddha. He's the during the lay life, Prince Siddhartha, uh, he married a woman called Yasodhara. This Devadatta is a elder brother of this Yasodhara. So once the Buddha got the enlightenment, including 6 royal princes, this Devadatta also entered to the ordination and got the monkhood. Initially, he was a very good monk, doing things well, but in latter, by seeing the respect, gains, honor that received by the Buddha, he also thought to become a person like the Buddha, and he needed to control the sangha, and he needed to earn the fame, gain, honor from the people. But he cannot become a Buddha because he is a normal human being, not like the Buddha. He didn't perfected paramitas. So by knowing that nature, Buddha didn't allow him to, take that opportunity. But somehow he was able to convince 500 of the disciples of the big Buddha, and uh, he have done the schism of the Sangha, or the division of the Sangha, and he found a separate place for another monastery, and he started a separate community of Sangha. So now after commencing of the separate group of Sangha, then he was unable to still provide the uh, if sufficient requisites like food, medicine, accommodation, and robes and kind of thing. So what he has done was, during that time there was a royal prince named as Ajatasattu. So by using his psychic power, I said that initially he was a very good monk, and he was doing meditation and sila samadhi prajna, all of things he was performing well, and because of that he got the psychic powers. Those are like worldly things. In Buddhism we are not much focusing on the psychic power, but somehow this Devadatta has received this psychic power, and with this psychic power he was able to convince the royal prince Ajatasattu, and because of the fear, because of the this that he trembled at the before the Devadatta Bhikkhu, and hence he began to offer so much of offerings to him. Daily it is said that daily he sent 500 cards to the monastery of the Devadatta. So they are not as a normal bhikkhu. Normal bhikkhu has to go for an arms round. Doing arms round is not an easy thing. He has to walk around, few kilometers a day. So it's a it's a hardship. So he has to spend some. It is some difficult task. But as the monks who are in the Devadatta's monastery, they are receiving everything into their monastery, so they don't need to do arms round and things like that. And not only that, they are getting all the sweets, all the delicacies, all the requirement in maximum ways. So with the time, these two friends together now, now they are monks, and they were talking each other, and the monk who is from the Devadatta side always telling to the good monk, what is the purpose of doing these arms round and things? Why don't you come to our monastery? Because we are getting everything easily. We've been sponsored by the king, royal king. So why don't you come to our place? In the beginning, this good monk bit reluctant, but after listening to so much of request from the latter, he was convinced somehow. Then what he did was, good monk, as a good monk, he's in the Buddha side, Veluvana monastery. Early in the morning, he left the monastery, not for alms round, but to go to that Devadatta's monastery. And he's going there secretly. And once he reached to the monastery, he take the food, and he in the morning time he fulfill his all the requirements, eating and sleeping and discussing and everything. Then in the evening, he just again returned back to the Veluvana monastery. So this good monk continued this activity for a longer period of time, but somehow the other monks, the fellow monks, got to know about his activities. Then they questioned about him. Is it true that you are going to the, instead of going more arms round, is it true that you are going to the Devadatta's monastery? Other monks questioned. Then he said, yes, I am going, but when I go to the Devadatta's monastery, Devadatta is not offering anything, because at that time he knew that Devadatta is a bad monk, but he is not giving anything to me. But the laity of the Devadatta, they are the one who has offered me. That's why I am going there. But as a monk, by showing our psychic powers, showing our inner good qualities, if we convince the people and if we try to earn the requisites, that's not a good way of living of the monk. So since that, even though the Devadatta's deity is offering things, but still it is not uh, acceptable for a monk to receive the requisite in that way. So what the fellow monks did was, they accompanied this monk forcefully to the Buddha. At that time, when the Buddha seeing this monk, the fellow monks forcefully accompanying this monk to the Buddha, then Buddha asked from the monks, dear bhikkhus, what is the purpose of bringing this monk to me forcefully? Then at that time, these monks explained the incident to the Buddha. At that time, Buddha asked from that good monk, is it true that you are going to the Devadatta's monastery and you are indulging the food and things over there? Then he reluctant to accept, but somehow, when Buddha questioning, he knows everything, so he cannot be reluctant, and he accepted the uh, uh, claim done by the Buddha, and he said, yes, Venerable sir, I am going there, but Devadatta is not offering things to me, but his deity, his laity offering me things since I am going there. So then Buddha said, uh, this Jataka story, when our lives going on, some kind of hidden characteristics, hidden dispositions lies amongst us. So for example, when we try to practice meditation or doing bhavana, some kind of uh, bad thoughts come into our mind. We think how it comes, because we always try to be good, but we cannot maintain that good behavior always. That is because due to the past incidents, past experiences, past habits and practices we have done during the past existence will affect to our present day life. That's what mostly happened. It has happened even before the Buddha. When our great teacher, when he was performing a Dhamma sermon, there were five uh, attendants listening the sermon of the Buddha, and out of five, only one was listening the Dhamma. Other four listeners, they were doing different kind of thing. One listener, one disciple, he was looking at the sky. At the same time, the other one, he was sleeping, and the third one, he was just digging the ground by using his uh, finger of the leg. And the fourth one, he was just picking the branches, picking the leaves of the branches in a tree. And only one person is hearing the Dhamma. So it's amazing thing. Even before the Buddha, all of were not able to listen to the Dhamma. So at that time, Buddha said, this is the nature of the samsaric journey. The one who has looking at the sky while the Buddha was preaching the Dhamma, he was in the previous existence, he was a astrologer, because he was considering about the sky and the stars. That's why, as a practice, even before the Buddha, while Buddha was preaching Dhamma, he was just looking at the sky. The second one, who was sleeping, during the previous existence, most of the lives, most of the existences, he was a snake, cobra. Those snakes used to sleep almost all of the time. That's why in this time, when Buddha was preaching Dhamma, he was sleeping. And the third one, the one who is digging the ground with the finger on the leg, he was a earthworm during the previous existence. That's why, as a practice, as a habit, he was just digging the ground when the Buddha was preaching Dhamma. And the fourth one, the one who is uh, picking leaves. He was in the previous existence, he was a monkey for a number of lives. That's why in this life, even before, when the Buddha was preaching Dhamma, he was just picking the leaves of the branches. So Buddha explained the nature of the things. I mean, in the present life, uh, definitely, indeed, there's a connection from the past lives. That's why Buddha said that. Similarly, this monk always with the Buddha, he fortunate enough to get the ordination from the Buddha, but he used to hang around the Devadatta's monastery just to by having the fond of the food and requisites. The Buddha said, "No, this is not the first time this monk behaved like this. During the previous lives also, he was like this. He was influenced by the others." So hence the Buddha began to explain this Jataka story. So in this Jataka story, uh, in the previous lives, there was a elephant. I explained the name of the elephant, Mahiļāmukha. So this elephant is a royal one. Royal elephant is a uh, royal elephant means during the Buddhist time there were no armored vehicles. So it's a symbol of a king to show that his uh, capabilities, his power of the military, showing through this kind of vehicles, the mostly horses, elephants, and because they were fought each other, they were conquering other countries by using this, animal force, this kind of armor. So he had the, royal elephant to show his power. This elephant was named as Mahiļāmukha. Initially, he was a very great, elegant, and very restrained, very good elephant. But suddenly his behavior began to change, and instead of tamed elephant, he was trying to kill the mahouts. Mahouts mean the elephant keepers, elephant, the elephant keepers, and he tried to kill each and every person come before the elephant. So at that time, it's a question that how one initially it's a very good elephant, but he changed his behavior. Then the king ha- tried to examine, tried to find the reason for that. Then at that time, king instructed his minister. The minister is the bodhisattva, he's a wise one, and he said, uh, he asked, king asked the minister to observe, find the things, find the causes and conditions of this illness and this bad behavior. Then the minister bodhisattva just observe physically without going closer to the elephant, by observed physically, and physically he couldn't notice any kind of illnesses. Hence he decided this is happening because of not his physical diseases or any kind of physical defects, but something goes around him. Then he observed the surrounding of the elephant abode, elephant stable, and he questioned from the royal workers and elephant keepers also. Then they said, uh, during the previous days, there was some group of burglars or the group of thieves were discussing their things around this elephant stable. So they, while as robbers, as thieves, as burglars, they were not discussing good things. They were discussing how to hit people, how to steal things, and while stealing, if you let the the people to live, then there will be witnesses and they will be in trouble, because witnesses will uh, will complain about the robbers. So that's why you have to not only steal, but you have to kill the people also. So all these discussions were heard by this elephant. Then the elephant thought, uh, these people, they are telling me to do this. So he began to change his life, and he began to kill and began to behave aggressively. That was the cause. So this was noticed by this minister, and again he decided, so uh, to sort out this behavior, to sort out this matter, he need to do the same in a positive, in a good way. Then he said, uh, some of the workers to organize a group of good people, group of ascetic, group of disciples who practices dhamma. Then he arranged that one, and eventually some of those good people around get to go together just closer to this elephant abode, elephant stable, and they were talking about dhamma, how to do metta, and how to practice sila, how to practice kindness, and how to help people. And when the people are in trouble, how we should help. Then they were discussing in these things in a good way. So then elephant began to hear these things daily for a few days. Then he began to think that these people are asking me to do this. So he just immediately began to change his behavior. He just began to show the kindness method towards all the beings who are coming before him. So then uh, royal king was truly happy about the wisdom of the minister, and because it was the bodhisattva, that's why he was just you know uh, pointing out and sort out the matters in that wise way. That is the nature of the Buddha. you know as human beings, the lessons that we take when we face some kind of difficulties, as practitioners, even while meditation, doing meditation, while living, sometime our behavior may be having, we may have bad behavior. Then we always try to find solution from within ourselves. But actually, when you deeply consider about your situation, sometimes it may cause not because of your defects within you, but because of the external causes. It might happen. That's why the wise person, in that way, wise person, just consider things. So similarly, uh, Bodhisattva has done in that way, not only in this story, but in all the stories, he has so much of wise. So that's one lesson that we can learn from this story. And so with that, Buddha just connected to the future. During the past time, the king was this Anand, and the elephant was this Bhikkhu, the one who has gone to the Devadatta side. And the minister is the I myself, Buddha declared. And hence, because of that, then after that, Buddha advised this monk further, and he became a good, and he was began to again become a good monk and do the their normal things in the bhikkhu life, and became a good monk. So that's what mentioned in the this Jataka story. So uh, this is the time for you to ask any question, and you can ask any kind of question, because I'm not today talking. I haven't talked about the deep side of today. I just talked the story and given you the lessons from the story, so you can ask questions. So so far we haven't got any questions. So comments put by Kumu, Wasabi Chan, and Jayanta Fernando, Julie, Kim Gordon, Janaki Balasuriya, and uh, Amaranta Arcadia. And there's a question asked by Hang. How do we know rites and rituals that Buddhist practice that may hinder our spiritual development? Actually, that's a good question. in Buddhism also, this has happened to that. Suppose in your home, we like to have the eco nature. Eco nature means we like to have plants, creepers. Uh, we like to plant around our home. And just imagine, by planting those plants and creepers, and we let them to grow. Initially, it was beautiful, but if you are not controlling them, then they will grown throughout your home, throughout your house, throughout your walls, roof, and covered will cover everything of your home, and eventually uh, destroy everything. So similar thing happens, the rites and rituals in Buddhism also. You know, in the Buddha's time, Buddha, most of the time he was talking about the deep Dhamma. You know, all of the talk, even after the Jataka stories, Buddha not just finish things by just telling the Jataka story. He initially said the Jataka story and begin to tell him the Dana Katha, mean he talk about the giving, Sila Katha, mean he talk about the morality, and Sagga Katha, mean he talk about the good thing about the uh, uh, becoming being both, having both birth in the a good world, like Deva world, human world. Goodness he talk always, and finally he talk about uh, Kamanang Adinava, mean the the Adinava, mean the drawbacks of attaching, and he somehow with the consequal way, finally he comes to the true Dhamma. In even after the Jatak story, that has happened. Finally, he talk about the Four Noble Truths. But uh, with the time, now almost 2,500 years passed. Now people in nowadays mostly like not to the true essence of the Dhamma, but they like the rituals. Most people think by chanting only they get the blessings. Those chanting just enter from the cultural things mostly. During the Buddhist time, they were not chanting. In one occasion, our great teacher, he was about to passing away. He was just about to passing away. He was on the deathbed. At that time, most of the monks were gathered around him and weeping, crying, because the our venerable teacher is going to die now. But there was a monk named as Attadatta. He just came to the Buddha and worship, and he just immediately returned back to his seclusion and began to do meditation. At that time, the other monks just came to him and said, "What are you doing? You are doing meditation. You are doing meditation. Our great teacher is about to die. What are you doing?" At that time, he said, "No, I am trying to offer, because for my teacher, because before he's passing away, I want to become enlightened." So Buddha get to know about him, and he praised him, and he done the 3 times sadhu, because about his activity. The true offering is to practicing of the Dhamma, not just offering things to the Buddha or the Sangha. I am not saying that offering or doing dana and doing worldly meritorious activities not bad. They are good, but we should know the limitation. We should know the limits of them. But the true practices are coming from practicing the Dhamma, really practicing the Sila, Samadhi, and especially the Prajna. So nowadays, most people are totally depends on rituals, rites and rituals. So as I said, most people believe that the chanting is get the blessings. Chanting is just one side. Chanting is good, but you need to understand the meaning of the chanting. And while chanting, within your mind, you have to recall the meaning. You have to contemplate. Then only you will get the real essence. Likewise, if you take the Buddhist culture, there are so many chanting. In my countries, they think Buddhism is going to temple and doing. Bodhi Puja mean, like, Bodhi Puja mean to symbolize the Buddha. In a temple, there were Bodhi trees, and our people go before the Bodhi tree and offering water and offering money, offering so many requisites, and they request. Suppose if one's family member got sicknesses, then uh, he pray before the Bodhi tree and ask the medicine, ask the well-being of the patient. So that's what, those are the rites and rituals. you know uh, if you have the sickness and if you go before Buddha and you pray uh, your well-being, it's a unwise thing. What you have to do is you have to go to a doctor and take medicine, because Buddha appeared to this world not to give you the physically medicine. He was to make you, he was to offer you, he was to give you the Dhamma. The Dhamma also kind of a medicine. It has to be taken in separate ways. And once you take the medicine of the doctor, if you are always worshipping uh, the medicine instead of uh, taking them, then it will uh, not bring you the well-being. You have to consume the medicine in a prescribed dosage. So similarly, rites and rituals are now almost outshine the true essence of the Dhamma. So as wise disciple, we have to understand, we have to separate them. What are the rites, what are the rituals, and what are the essence of the Dhamma? In that way, we always try to focus our attention towards not the rites, not the rituals, but for the true Dhamma. That's why last time also I said, uh, before we practice, this is a beautiful Dhamma term, Atha Manyaya, Dhamma Manyaya, Dhammanudhamma Patipanno Hoti. Before we practice Atha Manyaya, we should know the essence. And we should know the Dhamma Manyaya. Atha Manyaya means essence, Dhamma Manyaya means we should know the Dhamma factor. For an example, now we do practice Sila. So that is Sila, the term Sila is Dhamma. The essence of the Sila means, uh, like people say, like, even before the Buddha, people were practice the other teachings also, they practice Sila. In Buddhism also we practice Sila. Then what is the difference between those two Sila? But in Buddhism, we practice Sila. It is totally different from the other teaching Sila. It may be the, from the external we can see they also observe 5 precepts. As Buddhist, we also observe 5 precepts, but physically, externally, it seems same, but totally different essence wise. Why I am saying that? Because in Buddhism, our samadhi, or the mental purification, one pointedness, concentration, is solely depend on the sila. That's why the sila said samadhi sangvattanika sila, means that our samadhi is fully depend on the morality or the sila. So that's why this sila is unique. I'm telling you about the sila. It's not a habit. It's not just a rites and rituals. It's the true practice of Buddhism. So that's why when you know the term Dhamma Sila, then you know the essence why you practice. If you know the purpose of Sila, then you know the essence. Then Attamanyaya, Dhammamanyaya, by knowing the essence, by knowing the Dhamma, Dhammanudhamma Patipanno Hoti. Dhamma Anudhamma. Dhamma means the reality, Anudhamma means according to the reality, according to the Dhamma you have to practice. Not if you feel that no, now I want to do metta meditation, and you do metta meditation. You don't know the purpose of doing that. Not like that. The wise disciple or is not like that. He know the meaning and essence, then he begin to practice. So that is the difference between Buddhist practices, and he's not much going behind the rites and rituals. Bhante, when was the Jataka stories written? Actually, it is a debatable topic. I mean, I found some teachings that they were discussing about the time period uh, the Jatak stories was written. There was a book called in Sri Lanka in Buddhist commentaries. One of the book known as Saddhamma Ratanavali, Saddhamma. So in those book, in that book, it is mentioned during one of the past time the stories was the Jatak stories were written. But actually, there were some doubts. The exact to find we cannot find the exact period of the Jataka stories. So that's why we need not much focus on the things on the story, but the essence of the story. And always after the Jataka story, Buddha has connected to this life and he preaches the Dhamma. So we have to focus on that Dhamma because, as I said, like suppose in one of the Jataka story, as I explained, he talk about some animals were talking. In modern day context, we cannot believe that. How can animal talk? But it is not talking of the animal is not our matter, but the essence of the Jataka story is the thing. So it's a debatable topic. All not only Jataka stories, all the commentaries like that. So we have to be mostly focused. Our focus should be on the essence of the Jataka story. His do we recognize and deal with fake monks? As recently there was a Tibetan monk that sexually molested women for the past 6 years and has yet to be disrobed or arrested by the police. Oh, that's a good question. Not only that, nowadays, we cannot find completely purified behavior nowadays. So it has happened even the Buddha's time. If you can read the Vinaya Pitaka, you will get amazed. Even the Buddha's time, there were some monks doing these kind of behavior. That's why the Buddha said, in future, in future monks will behave like this. They were not wearing robes. Instead of robe, they were wearing this yellow color just uh, string on his finger, on his hand, on his hand. So only by that we can identify him as a bhikkhu because he doesn't wear the robes. He wear normal clothes like normal lady. He living with the family in a temple, with the not secretly, by revealing himself, he behave like that with the family, with the children. He lives in the temple. People offering things to him. The Buddha said, even for even him, even he can, bring you the benefits. The one who is offering dana to even to him by the by the good confidence or the trust, it will bring the benefit. So that is because happening, we have to understand sangha, the concept of sangha. Sangha is not a person. To understand, I will give you another extra example. Just imagine about your motherhood, about your mother. Suppose there's a thing called motherhood in this world. If we take all the mothers in this world, all the mothers are not equal. Some mothers, they are good, some are bad, and there are some incidents we can hear. Even just after the birth, the infant just left away in the backside of the road, and the mother left away, leave the place without any caring of the infant. But they have just tarnished the image of the motherhood. No, they cannot. They as a woman, she can perform like that, but the quality of the motherhood never disturbed. It's a perceived thing. I mean, it can never be uh, you know relegated. The quality of the motherhood never be tarnished. because it's a qualities not depend on the persons. Likewise, similarly, the quality of the Sangha also the same. We were worshipping the Sangha by saying 9 characteristics. Supatipanna, Ujupatipanna mean, they are upright, perfectly upright like this. There are 9 qualities. I'm not going to explain them right now. So, but the one who having bad qualities and the one who's uh, having good qualities, all of them included into the Sangha. So that's why when we offer things to the Sangha, we not considering about the people and their behavior. We always think, in Pali it is called, uh, we think about the whole community. We think about the Buddha's time, Buddha's Sangha, Sariputta Thera, and we have to uh, build up that mindset in our mind when we offer things, when we deal with the Sangha. Then we are dealing with not the person. It doesn't matter whether the person who represents the Sanghahood, whether he is performing bad activities. But when you when you understand the concept of Sangha, then you deal with the Sangha. So then one behavior in bad way, then it won't bring down your faith, your trust towards the Sangha. So you have to understand the term Sangha. In that way, you have to offer things. This doesn't matter. Then you have no, uh, various approaches. Whether he's a Theravada monk, whether he's a Tibet monk, whether he's a Mahayana, it doesn't matter. All of the monks represent the community of the Sangha. By having that mindset, you have to offer things, then you will get the benefit. It doesn't matter yet if you go through uh, Vinay Pitaka, as I said. If you read some of the stories, sometimes you may not even feel to offer things even the Buddha's time, because that's the nature of the defilement of the people. By just wearing the robe, it doesn't make him worthy of respect. The one who is practicing the true Dhamma, he is the one getting the worthy of respect. So we cannot find through the physical attire whether he is a good monk or a bad monk. What we have to do is that we have to consider him as the Sangha, so we have to offer things to him. Just ask me again. So that's all the questions that received for today's Dhamma talk. So now time also has passed. So we have we came to the conclusion, end of the talk. So let's in the future we try to talk in the Jataka stories, and we try to discuss, and in the Jataka stories also we can learn lots of things. So you can ask the question at that time also. I'm really appreciating the one who is asking questions. So with that, we have come to the end of today's Dhamma sermon. And by discussing Dhamma, Sabbadhanang Dhammadanang Jinati mean, by talking Dhamma, I have gathered so many merits. By listening to my Dhamma talk, you have gathered also so many merits and virtues. So all the merits and all the virtues be a cause and condition for you to have the well-being in the physical life as well as in the future lives. And also, I would like to I would like to uh, mention, especially my teachers, and I wish the blessings to them. Uh, with the permission of telling the name, Venerable Man Kadavula Sudassana Thera and Venerable Man Kadavula Nandaratana Thera, and also Venerable Kothmale Kumar Kassapa Thera. May my teachers receive the blessings of the triple gems, and may my teachers receive the merits that we have gained through this Dhamma talk, and may they be well, be happy, and finally may they be able to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. And all the devas who are in the universe wish to partake this noble activity. May they share these merits, and with these merits, may they be able to attain the supreme bliss to their lives by attaining the Nibbana. And also all of the disciples, and especially the Bhante Sudasu, and as well as the Yasoma and other resident monks who are in the Empty Cloud Monastery. Because of this noble platform, we got this opportunity to talk this Dhamma, and may they receive these merits, and may they be able to attain the supreme bliss by spending good life in this life and in the future lives as well. And finally, may they be able to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana soon. And not only them, all of the sentient beings who wish to have the well-being, all of the sentient beings who wish to get the essence to their lives, may they be blessed with triple gems, and may they receive these merits, and may their lives become successful, well-being, and may they live with happy and all the wellness may they have. And finally, all of the beings may reach to the Nibbana. With that, I am concluding Dhamma sermon. I am blessing you with the blessings. Take the blessings by respectfully. Abhivadana silissa niccang vaddhapachayino chattaro dhamma vaddhanti ayuvanno sukhang balang ayu arogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha atho nibbana sampatti iminate samijjhatu.